that green background. Some parts were redacted. I'm waiting on the pardon list. Snoop Dogg's friend does pardon. Russia hoax. Yeah, why is that? We're all wide up. It's a late show. Shh, everybody's sleeping. I couldn't let our Australian friends go, hanging on the edge of their seat, being it's the middle of the day, and all West Coast friends are just settling in, and there's Willie booming along. So let's see, in Europe, they're up early. I bet you Virginia's up. And poor Fouchy's probably having a nervous breakdown, chewing his fingernails, going, how could this be? All right, all that aside, let's talk about some spiritual things, shall we? Hi, Willie. You were saying boom. Get it? Willie, fix it, boom. Whatever. So here's the thing. God gives us free will, right? And those that control themselves can be living the proper line. Those that don't can be construed as sociopaths or psychopaths. But, best I can figure, the only way to overcome free will is through deception. Because this way, what you're relying on to make your decision is incorrect. We could leave it there. There seems to be a lot of that going on. There seems to be a lot of that has been talked about through the centuries, yes? Interesting point. Now, let's talk about the astrological events unrelated to free will. Our friend, who was it who said that? I think it was Goodwitchy made the comment that on the 20th, we have an interesting alignment of Mars and Uranus, different than Uranus. So Uranus is evidently, and I'm not an expert in this by any means, the planet that brings, it's a watery planet, so there's uncertainty and, what should we say, very fluid, changing. So this could be very fluid tomorrow and now, which might be while we're all up. And also couple that with Mars, which is the god of war, and we could have some volatile changes. Now, we must know that the dark forces in the battle of evermore, that mortals will never know, have planned on this to use this configuration to their advantage, right? So they figure this way they can execute their deception and use the forces of the astrology to their advantage. But being that there is balance, and as Robert screams, bring it back, there is balance. So when we look at David Martin's piece, and I'm putting that up for you tonight because I think a lot of you haven't watched that, and I sent that to several select people today. All of them watched it, and all of them were like, wow. So I'm going to tell you something. It's a wow. So check it out. That's the first link. And what he discusses is the vaccine Moderna and Pfizer, and the definition of a vaccine that makes you immune to the exposure of a pathogen. Now, the tests that were done in their trials did not and were not required to establish that immunity. So there is no representation that there is immunity after having received this vaccine, right? So take the vaccine and still get sick. Okay. The problem is, by definition, when you call something a vaccine, it says it gives you the immunity. And this he reads from different state statutes, and it's pretty much uniform as best we can tell. So, that means we are now experiencing a Federal Trade Commission violation. It's deceptive and false advertising being brought to you by our brilliant government. Now, that's what he goes through on this episode, and he calls it butterflies, but those are his episodes. So the first link is this one, and I don't think I called it FTC, but this is huge. And he has links. I downloaded this video because I think it's that important. And at the end, he says, take action. And it doesn't mean just share it with your friends who know and believe, preaching to the converted. No. This means share it with people in law enforcement and government. Like, for instance, my congressman here is Brian Mast, who is a good little droid. I've spoken to a couple of his aides or assistants or whatever you want to call these guys, staffers, and I think I'll do it again tomorrow. And he just sent out a note telling us here in Florida that Publix supermarkets will be giving out the vaccine on the 21st, but you have to be over 65 to get it. And these are the people that seem to be having the most problems, at least in the Norway findings, which I put that link in for you. I mean, I hate to give you so much deep information when we really want to see Buffalo Boy, but nobody commented on Buffalo Boy. That was a very cool link. And I think hearing his voice, we can upgrade him to Bison Man. A good voice, bellowing as he walked into the chamber. Kind of reminds me of something I might do. See if you can get some reverb and echo out of a nice big room. We know the feeling, don't we, campers, right? So, those are fun links. And there's a shitload of links that I've given you, at least in the last week. But aside from that, what I'm giving you here is real important. So, I think I'm going to have a discussion with staff member over at Mass Office and explain to him that these technically are not vaccines. What are they? This is false advertising because it doesn't prevent you from getting the illness. Then what the hell good is it, right? All right, so that's episode 1. Now, episode 2, or link 2, is the discussion from Pfizer. And this whole thing tells you, and it's funny, it's a PDF. Open it up and scroll through it. They have nice diagrams and everything else of how to prepare the powder, mix it up with your saline, and it has to be 0.9% specific, not this one, not that one, but it has to be this. It's so precision-based. How do you not think there are not screw-ups? And if somebody mixes it wrong, could that also be causing adverse reactions? Just a question we simple folk want to know. So, but the immunity that all these people are given because it's an emergency use authorization is discussed in David Martin's piece, and it is excellent. This is top shelf stuff, man. Now, take a look at the Pfizer thing. Now we have the question on compounding, and oh man, I forgot his name. My man, he's been a long-time viewer. He was gone and he's back. He said his pharmacist now, I think he's up in Tennessee. Yeah. And he said his pharmacist is a compounding pharmacist. We're losing lighting here. There we are. And yeah. So anyway, I'm going to ignore Buffalo Boy. Are you sure he's not Bison Man? I don't know. That was good audio. Check out that clip 2 days ago. It's about a minute long, shot from his buddy's cell phone. So the thing is, man, I apologize. I forgot your name, dude. But he's up in Tennessee. And he said that his father was a compounding pharmacist. And that his current pharmacist is a compounding pharmacist. I said, cool. It was in the comments. We had some discussion, which is the reason for important discussion in the comments. So I said, can you check with your pharmacist and see if mixing up this vaccine if you have to be a compounding pharmacist to do so. So he came back with a definitive no, and also a list of, I don't know how many other people are authorized to do this. So we're looking into that. Now, I also want to put a big thank you to Karen with an I, who responded to the bat signal this morning, pinged me back, and we did some real good research and had a lovely conversation. about all of the strategy, and she dug up a lot of stuff and has some expertise in this field. Isn't it curious who knows so many different things about things when you have a good, intelligent group of campers on the high IQ channel? Yes? So anyway, thank you, Miss Karen. Great stuff, and campers should thank her too. So that's link 1, that's link 2. Link 3. Did I print this stupid thing? I think I did. Yes. Oh wait, you're out of order. I'm out of order. Before I go to the COVID vax mixing, I got to give a shout out to Sandy in the patrons section. And she put in the Moderna technology. Now, just to prove the point that David Martin makes, I put the link to Moderna technology. This is their, you're going to love this. You got to see this. Open it up. It's their webpage. And this is their mRNA platform enabling drug discovery development. What? Is this a vaccine or is it technology? Notice how they're getting cute. And they use the example of an operating system and plug and play, stuff to kind of confuse it, to use it. Well, we're just talking in analogies, but that's not really what it is. It's really a vaccine. Bullshit. No, wait, it's a platform. It's a technology platform? Oh, okay. Fascinating. David talks about this. So that's number 2. Just take a look. You read the first paragraph and then you're like, wow. There we go. And I think that's where Fauci has an interest in this company. I believe Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said that. It's his little boutique pet project. Kind of like the Balfour Agreement was a pet project for Rothschild. You remember the Balfour Agreement, right? To engineer the appearance of prophecy occurring. Is that deception? You decide, campers. You remember the Balfour Agreement. It was in that famous year of 1917. A lot happened there. Wasn't that the Russian Revolution, the Balfour Agreement? There was something, oh yes, it was the Sykes-Picot Agreement, where they agreed to split up the Ottoman Empire, North, South, France, and England, and draw new lines in the sand. There was something else there too. What else was it? Oh, was it World War I when the U.S. entered? A lot of stuff happening there. That's why they were so pissy in 2017, because they couldn't pull their bullshit again. That was supposed to be Bolshevik 2. Didn't work. So then now, and they need to get slapped down. And we need to bring to the media and make the media slap them down, because these people talking about communism and saying re-education camps and cleansing, first of all, it's an outrage. Anybody in an elected position saying that, they're violating and proposing to violate other people's rights, aren't they? Wouldn't that constitute hate speech when you've got these people saying it's white people doing it? And this is the problem with America. It's white people, and you see a black guy. And then you see the black guy who was in the mugshot a minute later, which could have just been race baiting by Fox News, who was released on reduced bail in Philadelphia and shot and killed a white guy after robbing him for no apparent reason. And there we go. And the problem is white people in America, and I think that guy, the shooter, he should run the country, don't you think? His economic theory will definitely keep things going. I don't know. You could leave a comment, but that was interesting. And we should show that to the obnoxious congressman who is making that statement and ask him what does he think about his brother. Wow. All right, so we got Moderna technology. Then we have the COVID vax mining instructions. Oh, mixing, I'm sorry. It's the lighting. All right, that's number 3. Now, number 4, for those of you who did watch number 1, and I've watched it twice, number 1, I will probably do it again because it's that excellent. And the links, and I downloaded that too in a PDF, and they're all hot links, and they're all documented. Number 4 is, I misspelled it, but it's David Martin. I have a Marin. I switched him from a Martin to a Marin. At any rate, this is great. This is the one that came out today, and one of our campers from North Carolina mentioned it, said, oh, we put up a new one, and I was waiting for it. Evidently, he did it on Facebook yesterday, and he put it up on YouTube today with a lot of links. And this one is the Fouchy Dossier. Wow. This is a 220 or 250 page document that is researched, and this took this man a long time to do, and he put it together. And I think at the end he's talking about the thud value. You know, you print it out and thump it on the desk. Hand this over. This is a full-blown indictment about the criminal activities, also the Federal Trade Commission violations, as well as the failure to disclose the funding for patents that these guys have disclosed. Also, the failure of the National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Diseases to properly reveal to Congress, because they lied to them, which is a criminal offense, about the number of patents that they had done, about how many were making money, etc., etc. Very small amount were revealed when there were actually many more. Fascinating indictment. You'll love this. But this is detailed stuff. And sit down, have a cup of coffee or a nice cold glass of beer and enjoy the story. It's about 30 minutes. And again, he says, bring this out and tell people about it. Prosecutors, law enforcement, representatives, etc. People need to know. And if you notice, he doesn't have a shitload of views on it. It's only 3,000, 4,000 views. So I'm asking you to share the video and the message and listen to it. Because this, I'm thinking, in conjunction with a couple of the excellent lawsuits that are out there, and I'm thinking I've got to get hold of Pam. I'm assuming that she's seen this, but I will not assume that. I will send it to her and suggest she take a look and incorporate the argument into her suit, which I still haven't read. And therefore, I'm going to read that. And then we have Candace's man that I haven't reached out for, who has a lawsuit fighting over vaccines in California in federal court. And this might be able to give him some additional ammo to have him fight harder. We will need to discuss that. Yes, campers? This is exciting stuff. And then, of course, we have the soap opera, the school play of the Donald. He gave his farewell address today, his thank yous and his gratitude. And, you know, his wife did the same thing. Okay, so he's really not leaving. Mike Adams had great exciting news last night, and tonight he notices that the documents that were being declassified were delayed. So I think tomorrow should be, and somebody commented it should be National Popcorn Day. I don't know, is it for today or tomorrow? He said it today, so I think it should be for tomorrow, though. So I'm probably going to be sparse tomorrow, unless there's something exciting that happens. And the bolts on those fences are on the outside. One of our viewers noticed. Now that might just because they are limb brains when they put it together, or is it intended to keep people in? You never know. But the drama never ends. The open-ended questions. We've who've been following this closely have been programmed and manipulated into believing there is an alternative plan in there, right? Good, Witchy, there you are. I just mentioned you. We were talking about the astrological functions. So let me tie this back, speaking of good witchy. So with the energies and the volatility, right, you've got the evil ones, no doubt, are planning to use that to their benefit. And because we always have balance, and Robert screams, bring it back, and, you know, you've got that yin-yang, and without balance, it doesn't work. So I suggest that perhaps these kind of brilliant beams of light being put out by Dr. Martin. Let me unplug. We're getting max headroom. Okay. By Dr. Martin are the balance. These are the beams of light that cut through the slime coat. And I'm telling you, this is brilliant stuff. And I'd like you to take a look at it, share it, think who might be appropriate to give it to. All right? Because this is not learned helplessness. This is empowering. And he did the work, and now we, all of us, need to help carry the ball forward, right? And he says that in there. Now, let's go back to Trump. So let's see. Let's go over this. We have Operation Warp Speed. We've waived clinical trials. We shut down the economy because Fauci, and David Martin goes into this in link number 4, represented to the president. Maybe it was in link number 3. I don't recall. But it's all in there. It's great. On these ridiculous guesstimates from these two conflicted universities or schools, and Trump somehow just buys it. Okay. Now, he doesn't point the finger at Trump. I am. He shuts down the economy for 2 weeks. We're almost a year into this. And now the vaccine doesn't prevent you from getting sick, so therefore Fauci can tell us to continue wearing masks, but take the vaccine and double hit on the other one. All right, so then we have the 5G rollout. We have to do that, the biggest, the best, the fastest, because it's healthy and it's safe and it might have some effect on the vaccine or technology. All right. And then we have funding Gavi, G-A-V-I. What did it come out to? About $1.2 billion. And then we have names that float around. This Watnick guy, everybody thinks he's a good guy. Well, didn't Prather say that Watnick is Q? Didn't Prather work in psychological operations? So if he knows that Watnick is Q and Watnick is on the inside and Q is misleading us, what is that telling us about Watnick? I think I suggested that earlier. Discernment campers. And has Prather been warning us about that, or is he running a psyop himself? You tell me. It's just so confusing. What's a housewife to do? You know what? It's shake and bake, and I helped. And maybe Trump thinks those NASCAR fans of his are just gullible, stupid fools. Maybe he thinks his supporters are mindless idiots. Maybe he wants to get everybody up there to raise their hands so they can now be targeted and put on lists. I'm going to tell you, do not go to any of these rallies tomorrow. I don't care if it's in your state capital or in the U.S. Capitol, because that is ripe for all kinds of false flag activities designed by our governments, their agents and employees. Wouldn't it be great if they had an inauguration and nobody went and nothing happened and that turns into a big nothing burger? Well, then they'll say, yeah, because the Trump supporters didn't show up. That's why we didn't have violence. Yeah, they want to have a 9/11 commission hearing. These guys are so full of shit, it's amazing. So why is it these documents are just being declassified now, going into the very last day of the presidency, assuming he's not going to continue forward? Some people say he was sworn in by generals on the 11th. On whose authority? All right, we'll see how this plays tomorrow. My bet is he gets on the plane and goes south and he'll have his little rally and play some golf. But I think it should be a National Popcorn Day. What do you think? Yeah. Before the biowarfare, the disease could be patented. Yeah, and you know who has him on all the time is Cottrell. And Cottrell loves that because Cottrell wants to sell his vitamins. Well, he calls himself Dr. Cottrell, but that's a doctor of finance, and he's a PhD in finance. Okay? So that's a good little blend there, isn't it? You could stroke the one guy, and both can pitch on the spraying, and yeah. I think they have to release a virus that is not as deadly, because otherwise you're going to kill too many people. They want to control things. So this way, if it was so deadly, they wouldn't need to do the propaganda. They wouldn't have to pump up the numbers. They wouldn't have to redefine pandemic. Okay? They wouldn't have to have the IMF and the World Bank paying world leaders to lock down their countries. David Martin does a brilliant analysis of how they're increasing the deaths, and they're not testing the deaths with the PCR test. They're testing healthy people and saying they're positive to increase the cases, which they rechanged the name of and the definition of. But the deaths they're just attributing, and it's a fascinating. They're not testing them now, right? Check it out. Take a good look-see. Sit back, remove the bullshit, the white noise, the buzzing bees in your ears, and read something. And these things are worth reading. I don't want to overdose you, so we'll leave it there. So number one is Martin's vaccine definition. It's not a vax, and it's really a Federal Trade Commission violation. And I know of people who have been slammed by the FTC, and they don't mess around, boy. They come in guns blazing, and they'll shut people down, fine them, seize their assets, like unbelievable. In the medical field as well, and David says that. I know people that's happened to in the internet marketing field, and that's his claim to fame, a guy named Frank Kern. He was pushing his bullshit. He was saying, yeah, and I made millions, and you can too. And that one little line, they crushed him for that. And you can too, as opposed to the disclaimer that says, you know, your results may vary. You've got to say that. You can't say, I did it and so can you. You can if, right? So you got to put in a very still major disclaimer. Let's see. You're still working. Why, what's happening? I don't know, Willie. What's happening? You got those kind of people that make things happen, people that watch things happen, and people that say, what happened? Which one do you want to be? That's talking to all the campers. That's not directed at Willie. All right? I just love that line. That's a good line. Yeah, popcorn. But I don't do popcorn, man. So maybe I'll get, fresh oranges and chomp them down. And maybe some apple pie. I ate apple pie today. That was fun. Anyway, so look, this is all important stuff. And I'm being friendly and light and mellow because I don't want to get too spooled up. It is the middle of the night. And maybe that's why we can't sleep. We got Uranus and Mars are coming into configuration. Let's see. So I like my thinking. Tell me what you think. That we got the beams of light penetrating the sludge, and that brings back the balance. This material can be used in other good lawsuits, I believe. It'll certainly buttress them, maybe add new angles, maybe new barbs and edges of razor blades on a spinning ball that whips through into the evil ones. How's that for a happy visual? All right. We will see. Yes. And then there was light. Sunlight disinfects. Okay, Raven. You're both essential and emergent. I don't know, a lot of emergency and personnel, they don't have days off on holidays, right? Yep, yep, yep. Constance, what were you doing? Eating spoons of baking soda? Imagine that. Yeah. Oh, Trump is doing pardon. So is he going to pardon Assange? And is he going to pardon, what's that Greek who was the CIA guy? Koriakou or something? Tucker had a thing on that, even though I'm still annoyed at him from his yesterday show. But I'll tell you what, makes a good point. According to Tucker, Mitch McConnell told Trump, if you pardon Tucker, Assange and these two guys who revealed misconduct by the U.S., then it's highly probable that the Senate will convict you, Mr. President, in an impeachment trial. Now, what's that? Extortion? Sounds that way to me. So let's see what Trump does. Does he fold? Why not? He's good at that. I guess he can't file bankruptcy here. He did that on his other businesses. Mm. Yeah. So he's still in lockdown in Ontario. All right. Blackmail, extortion. Same difference. Jacqueline. All right. Well, that's what I got for you. Good to have a Little chat. I didn't see Cindy Sue. Cindy Sue, where are you? All right. Okay, campers, definitely check out these links. They're videos. And the Moderna technology, you've got to read this. This is the link, and we thank Sandy from the Patreon department. And then the mixing instructions. Open it up and look through it. You got lots of diagrams. And David Martin, the latest episode, he does them weekly and puts them out, I guess, on Tuesdays, right? Or Mondays. And important arguments. And that's the Fouchy Dossier. Wow. You'll enjoy it. All right, campers, thanks for tuning in. If you like the thinking, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and subscribe. Yeah. Yeah, Raven is saying, check out the Dark Winter Exercise 2001. I put that link in a few days ago. That was a little video on it that was amazing, talking about who the players are in that. And somebody said, who the hell was it? Was it Good Witchy? I think it was Good Witchy, who put a link in about the Great Reset. There's a new movement called the Greater Reset, I think. And I didn't get a chance to check it, but it sounds fascinating. So this is the other spin. Yeah, that was you. Good, good. Why don't you slap that link in here in the comments, would you, Good Witchy? That would be great. Okay, the greatest reset. Oh, the greater. I'm in small mode here, or vertical. Yeah, I don't know what Agenda 2025 is. How about Agenda 2021? How about Agenda 1? Agenda 2? Number 9, number 9, number 9. Fade to black. FJ out. Ciao for now. Bye, campers.